Hello, Jen here with a bit of a different layout. So, this year, 2017, is Canada's 150th birthday. So, I thought I would make a layout to commemorate the bucket list that I've made. So, here you can see a whole bunch of different things that I think I might use. That was my bucket list, and those were some stamps and a whole bunch of red stuff. And what I decided I'm going to do is put a maple leaf in the middle of the page. So I'm sort of going for the Canada flag. So you can see on the paper I have some pencil marks. I was just sort of roughly drawing a maple leaf to try and get an idea of the size that I wanted. And then I went and printed out a nicer one that I could trace around. So I'm going to put that right in the middle. And basically what I did is I came up with, well, me and my family and friends helped out. We came up with 150 things to do this year to commemorate the 150th birthday. So a lot of it is stuff we know that we can get done, places that we should visit, things that are really sort of uber Canadian, like one of my friends suggested eating 150 poutines this year, so that went on the list. But just things like that that we can do to celebrate Canada's 150th birthday. So where the layout is going to mostly be white, I wanted to add a little bit of texture. So I went to my Vicki Boutin stencils because, of course, this is a layout all about being Canadian, so I thought I would use a Canadian designer. And I really like this pattern because it has a sort of mosaic-y, geometric feel to it, and that kind of, it feels Canadian to me. I don't know if it's sort of patterns that you see in some First Nations stuff, but also the Canada 150 mascot has a little bit of sort of this geometric pattern to it, so I thought that that would work really well. So I just put a little bit of that on with gesso, and now I've just traced sort of the outer edges of the maple leaf so that I have an idea of where it's going to be on this piece of paper that's going to be in the back. And basically I'm just going to fill that all in so that the maple leaf sticks out in the front with all these nice red things that I've collected. So I have some washi tape, and I'm going to cut out a section right here where I'll put a little shaker pocket filled with red glitter. And I'm going to cut out another little section here to make a shaker pocket and fill it with some sequins. I have the mermaid markers from Jane Davenport, and she has this really beautiful color. I think it's called lobster, so it's a really nice red. So I'm going to use that in a few spots. And I found these labels that I got from Michaels. They were just in the $1.50 bin or whatever they are, and I think they might have been from Christmas, but I just liked the red, and it gives a different kind of texture, more of that sort of cardstock shiny texture. So I'm going to put those along the edge. And then I was thinking of other stuff that I could use, but what I decided to do is just mostly use washi tape and things that are flat. And then once I have the whole maple leaf filled out, I can embellish the rest of it using all the little goodies I've found. So I'm still just fiddling with some of that stuff. I didn't have an exact plan. I had a good idea of what I wanted to do, but I didn't really have an exact plan. So now I think oh yes, I had this beautiful glitter tape. So I'm going to cut this up, and it wasn't long enough, so I'm going to have to use 2 pieces. So there'll be a nice glittery strip. And then, oh, hi Evie. Of course she has to come and check out my scrapbooking, but she wouldn't leave. She didn't want to leave. So I'm just working around that slit, excuse me, that slit that I cut. I love that red color. I normally don't really like red. It's not one of my favorites, but I don't know, that lobster is just such a nice red. Then I think way up here at the top, oh yes, I found some sparkly washi that has a heart in it, and then I used one of those enamel dots. And now I'm just going to cut out my little slits here, or my little openings. So I'll pop that one out. I'm always referring back to that main front page because I want to make sure that I have everything covered. And you can see there I was missing those two upper edges. So I'm just going to go get a little bit more washi tape. There we go. Now those are covered. And I'll fold that back and cut off this flap here so I have those two openings. I need to clean up that opening a little bit. Perfect. And then I just used my fuse tool and I made two little shaker pockets. So here's the one with the sequins, and you can see the way I fused it, I left some space around it so I had something to glue. And then here's the glitter one, and again I did the same thing. I left some space around it so the glitter doesn't move too much, but I had somewhere to glue. And now I can start thinking about the rest of the layout. So I'm just going to put some red around the edges here because I find that it doesn't really pop out very well. I wanted a bit of a definition. So I'm just going to use some of that Tim Holtz, I think that might be candy apple red. And I'm just going to go around and try and get in most of those edges if I can. And even there you can see how it just makes it pop off a little bit more. So I'll go around the outside as well. There we go. It's a really subtle touch, but I think it helps give that maple leaf a little bit of definition. So in order to embellish, oh man, I got it stuck to the my mat. But you notice I just put tape around the very inside edges because I wanted to make sure that I was getting it lined up and I didn't want to have to fight with tape all over the background. So now that I have the inner part taped down really nicely, I can go ahead and add some embellishment. So I have a couple of hearts from Ink and Twine, and I have that bow. Oh goodness, I don't know where that bow came from. It's a big plastic bow and it's really pretty. It has a little glitter in it. And then I used up some of those enamel dots that I got from Dollar Tree. And these are some little sort of fuzzy maple leaf stickers that I got from Walmart. That's some big maple leaf sequins that will find a home somewhere else. I just wanted to do a quick double check because even though it looks like it's off center, it is actually on center. So it was throwing me off a bit, but I think because of the way the paper crinkled, it doesn't look like it's centered. So I'm just doing a rough outline of where I want the rest of my flag to go. So when you picture a Canada flag, we have two sort of red borders, and then our center is white with the maple leaf. So here I'm just roughly drawing that in. Wherever there was texture from the gesso, I just had to sort of fill in those spaces. And then I'm going to go around the edge. I'm not going to fill the whole thing in red because this is where I'm going to write my bucket list, but I want to make sure that you sort of have a sense that it is a Canada flag. And I really enjoyed using that marker. It was a lot of fun. So I played around with it quite a bit. So I'm being really rough about this and sketchy because I know that it's going to be filled with writing. And here is where I make the biggest mistake. I really shouldn't have done this. Where there is the gesso, I decided to do some splatters. But my big mistake was I was too impatient and I didn't let them dry completely. So they smudged. But we'll talk more about that after. So now I'm just going around and I'm going to put some black outlining because I know I want a lot of my writing to be in black. I want it to sort of stand out and have a high contrast from the white and red. So I figured I would go and outline everything in the black so that there's black sort of throughout the layout. So I'm just going around doing that. And smudging the whole way across, so you can't see it, but oh yep, there you can see I smudged all of those splatters. Oh, Jen. But I fix it. I do fix it. So I outlined the maple leaf as well. And now I'm going to start writing my list. So I won't I did film the whole thing, but I won't show you the whole thing because that would be really long. I managed to get about 115 bucket list items on here. I decided that I would scatter some little stickers and some little homemade enamel dots and things like that throughout the list as well, just to sort of break up all the writing. And you can see I'm alternating between my black pen and I used a red Sharpie, and then here I'm using the Candy Apple Red Distress Marker, and that was my second mistake because I wasn't thinking, and distress markers react with water, and when I go to do some more splatters with the gold, my gold mist, it's gonna make the words run a little bit. So lesson learned. The Sharpie worked well enough, and I actually preferred this red. It was sort of a darker, deeper red, more on the blue, sort of that blue hue. So I liked it better. But the reason I was picking both markers is because there's so many different shades of red in here. I wanted to sort of mix it up. I didn't want the outsides to be more of a heavy red, I guess. I don't know. In my head it made sense. All right, so there's the one side, and now there's both sides. Woohoo! Can you see that? So now I'm going to cut all of this paper, the excess paper, because I decided that it still looks too light and airy, like it's not grounded very well. So what I'm going to do to remedy that is I'm going to mat the whole thing on some black cardstock. So here I'm just going to cut off about a 1/16 of an inch, a very, very small sliver, just enough that you can see that black around the outside edge. So I'm just going to cut that off of every side. Because it was already done, I have to cut it off of every side to make sure it was even. And I had some brads in there that I had to pull out. There we go. So I'm just testing to make sure I've cut off enough and fixing up a few spots. And then of course I'll go back in where I've cut off some of the red and I'll fix that up too, so it'll look a lot more even. But I really felt it needed that black just to I don't know, ground it and have some more of the contrast I was looking for. So here you can see I'm fixing up that red border to make sure that there's enough red popping through. There we go. And on the other side too. And I'll do the same thing with the black marker. because some of that came off. And put the brads back. There we go. And then I'm just going to cut out the center of this. I wasn't sure if I might need some of that black for something else. I still at this point hadn't decided if it was done or not. So I just wanted to have that because this is not a true black. It's just a piece of cardstock. On the other side it has a pattern. So it's more of a charcoal-y color. And in case I needed a little bit extra, I wanted to have some. So I'll just pop that down. You can see that I've put some washi tape on the back because I plan to actually do some more work on the back of this. So my thought is that because I don't want the sequins shaker pocket and the glitter shaker pocket to have something sort of sticking out behind it, that I'll do a similar layout on the back. So I'll have the maple leaf cut out, and then I'm going to put pictures, just a huge collage of all the things that we've done. So all of our bucket list items. So here you can see I'm just going to fix up some of the black lines where I cut them off. I just want to make everything even. There we go. And you can see, or maybe you can't see, but I also wrote a few things around the maple leaf, again to carry through that black. And then I just found this really random sticker. I'm pretty sure it was from the dollar store, and it's the Parliament buildings. So I put that down at the bottom of the stem of the maple leaf. And so here I'm going to put the title, and my title is going to be Canada 150 Bucket List. So I found these old Studio Calico, I think they might be twine and ink thickers. They're sort of like a pleather feel to them. And then I also have these Heidi Swapp Mistable chipboard thickers. And so I'm going to paint those using the mermaid marker again. So I'll do Canada in the red. And when you see them up close, you'll see that there's white lines there that are resist. So they look really nice. They match with the red and white. And then for the 150, I'm going to use some of the Heidi Swapp Gold Color Mist. And I don't want it to be a really solid gold. I more just wanted that really pretty sort of shimmer to it. So I'm going to paint that around, let them dry a little bit. And here you can see I'm splattering and the smudges are running. It made me really sad. There's one big goopy mess right down there in the bottom right hand corner. But I do fix it. And because you can never have enough gold, I splattered a little more. I was just hoping to sort of bring attention to the texture that I had put down in that bottom right corner and the top left corner. So I have to do a little bit of finagling here to get an ampersand to look like an S. And then I have to turn an F into a T in order to write the word list. But I just liked the black and they were the right size. And they're just a nice clean font. So I was just rubbing there a little bit to make sure all the resist was white. And then the title can go down. So Canada 150. And a lot of the stuff that I put in my bucket list is stuff that I know we're going to be able to do. Some of it will be a little bit challenging, I think. It's going to push us to try to try and do some stuff that we maybe normally wouldn't be able to do, but most of it is stuff that I know we're going to be able to accomplish. We're going on a big road trip this summer, so a lot of it has to do with that, places I know that we're going, so we'll be able to check off all the things on this list. Now I'm just going to decorate the white with some white embellishments. So again, I have these really pretty clear enamel dots that I made just using some perler beads. And then I have some white sequins. I found a red button that I really liked, so I think I'm going to try and put it on there somewhere. And I'll just glue those all down with my Tombow Mono Glue, which is working and cooperating with me. I think I complained about it so much that it just said, okay, fine, I'll work for you. So I'm just going to glue all of those down. I wanted some texture in that white space, just to make it fun and interesting. And I'm just looking for a few more places that I might be able to put some of those red homemade enamel dots. So the last thing that I'm going to do here is I had a couple of paper clips that I thought would be cute to use. So I'm just going to put them one down at the bottom and one up at the top. And I play around just a little bit trying to decide. I think I had to put the heart down at the bottom because that was the only way that the paper clip worked, so the heart was upright. And then I didn't like them there just floating by themselves, so I put a little bit more of that glitter washi tape, and that way it spread some of the glitter out too. And then after I was all done with the layout and everything had dried, I really decided I didn't like how messy it looked with all of the smudges and things like that. So in the final still shots, you'll notice that I actually redid the lists. I just cut out some plain white cardstock and I covered up the old lists and all that splatter and glitter and mist and stuff, and pasted on some new ones, and I like it a lot better. If you have any questions or comments, leave them for me down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Happy scrapping, everyone. Bye.